Okay, the court is in session in two cases. First case is cause number 330-990. And the second case is cause number 331-214. Both cases are styled the state of Texas versus Christopher Howell Brosh. We have Mr. Brosh, who is appearing via Zoom. Mr. Brosh, would you please, well, Mr. Brosh, is that your full name?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, Mr. Brosh, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Brosh, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God?
I do, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Brosh, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Brosh?
I'm okay, and yourself?
I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Mr. Brosh, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Don Boudreaux. Mr. Boudreaux, how are you doing?
Better.
That's good. Now, Mr. Brosh, I have before me a document that is titled Information. In this document, it alleges, and this is in cause number 330-990. In this document, it alleges that on July 30th, okay, it says on or about July 30th of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of theft. Mr. Brosh, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this
Speak up.
offense, Mr. Brosh, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No
Guilty.
contest.
No contest?
Now, you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Brosh, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. On page 2 of this document, there are a set of initials, CB, on a line next to a box that's checked nolo contendere, which means no contest. Mr. Brosh, did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On the third page of the same document, Mr. Brosh, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Mr. Brosh, did you sign this document?
Yes, sir.
I have another document before me. This document is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. At the bottom of this document, Mr. Brosh, there is a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Mr. Brosh, did you also sign this document?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Brosh, at the top of the same document, there are two boxes that are checked. The box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you are waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Brosh, did you sign a document out there on paper that is titled Discovery Certification?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Brosh, before you signed and initialed all of these documents that I have just mentioned, did your attorney, Mr. Boudreaux, go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, they are.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you also like to offer State's Exhibit number 2, the probable cause affidavit?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Boudreaux, do you have any objections?
No, sir.
Okay. State's Exhibits number 1 and 2 will be admitted. Mr. Boudreaux, you've advised and counseled Mr. Brosh. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
He seemed perfectly competent to me, sir.
Okay. Mr. Brosh, your attorney, Mr. Boudreaux, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, he did, Your Honor.
Mr. Brosh, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of no contest and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
Your Honor, the agreement is for 90 days in jail, probated over a term of 1 year. Payment of $500 in restitution to complaining witness Leticia Zungia and 24 hours of community service. And the state would then dismiss case number 331214.
Okay, is there a fine in this case?
There was no fine in the offer, Your Honor.
90 days in jail.
Okay, and there's, and what is the,
90 days?
is there community service?
Right.
24 hours community service, Your Honor.
24 hours of community service?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and the restitution is to Leticia Zuniga,
Zungia, I believe,
Zungia, okay,
the complaining witness in the case. Yes, Your Honor.
okay. Okay. L-E-T-I. Okay, it's the person's Leticia last name is spelled Z-U-N-I-G-A as it is in the information.
No jail.
Is that the correct?
No 90 days.
Mr. Mr. Josh, would you please be quiet? I'm trying to
I'm sorry.
now, Mr. Ham, is Zuniga, is that Z-U-N-I-G-A? Is that that's
That
what
would,
they have?
yes, Your Honor, that would be the correct spelling is in the information, probably not as I wrote it on the sheet.
Oh,
Zuniga.
okay. So that's Leticia Zuniga. Okay.
Zuniga.
Now, Mr. Brash, the state is offering that you serve 90 days in jail. However, you will not have to serve any time in the jail because you'll be placed on probation for 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you will not be required to pay a fine. However, you will be required to pay court costs of $402. You'll be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month and a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. You will also be required to reimburse Jefferson County court-appointed attorney's fees of $250, and you'll be required to pay a restitution of $500 to Leticia Zuniga. The total amount that you have to pay each month in monthly installments is $180. Mr. Brosh, will you be able to pay the $180 a month?
Yes, sir.
You will? Okay, now, Mr. Brosh, you will also be required to perform 24 hours of community service. And you will also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of your probation.
Yes,
Now, Mr. Brosh, let me repeat this to you again. Mr. Brosh, you'll be required to, the state is offering 90 days to be served in Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail because you'll be placed on probation for 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you will not be required to pay a fine. However, you will be required to pay court costs of $402. And you'll be required to pay restitution of $500 to Leticia Zuniga. You will be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month, and pay the court-appointed attorney's fees of $250. The total amount of your monthly installments will be $180 per month. You'll be required to perform 24 hours of community service, and you will be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of your probation. Mr. Brosh, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir, I do.
And do you think that the state's offer in this case is fair and just?
I do, Your Honor.
And do you accept the state's offer?
I do accept the state's offer.
Okay, Mr. Brosh, I'll follow the pre-bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Now, Mr. Brosh, the next case is cause number 331214. State, do you have a motion in that case?
Yes, Your Honor. The motion to dismiss.
Okay, now, Mr. Brosh, cause number 331214 which is a resisting of search transportation, will be dismissed, and I'll be signing the dismissal right now. Mr. Brosh, this will conclude your cases. Please follow the bailiff, and you have a blessed day. And Mr. Boudreaux, this will conclude your cases as well. You're free to go. And you have a blessed day as well.
When do I report for probation?
Mr. They should, I mean, it should be on, you should immediately go to the probation office today when you get out.
Okay, yes, sir. Thank you, Your Honor. Thanks, Dave. Thank you.
Make sure that they get your prints before you leave.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, Judge. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Did it right now. Okay, Mr. LeBlanc's case. We need Mordente Folsom, Skylar Mordente Folsom. Okay. Let me do Skylar Mordente Folsom. The court is in session in clause number 322720. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Skylar Mordente Folsom. We have Skylar Mordente Folsom, who is appearing via Zoom. Mr. Mordente Folsom, is that your full name, Skylar Mordente Folsom?
Correct.
Mr. Mordente Folsom, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Mordente Folsom, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Mordente Folsom?
I'm feeling blessed. How are you today?
I'm blessed as well, and thanks for asking. Mr. Skylar Mordente Folsom, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Todd LeBlanc, who is also appearing via Zoom. Mr. LeBlanc, how are you doing?
Good, Judge. Thanks for asking.
That's good. Mr. Mordente Folsom, I have before me a document that is titled Motion to Revoke Unadjudicated Probation. And in this motion, Mr. Mordente Folsom, it states that you, Skylar Mordente Folsom, was tried in County Court at Law Number 2, Jefferson County, Texas, on March 17 of 2020 for the offense of possession of marijuana, which is a Class B misdemeanor. And the court found that the evidence was sufficient beyond a reasonable doubt to support a finding of guilt for the above stated offense. However, the court deferred adjudicating your guilt and placed you on unadjudicated probation for a period of 6 months. The state on September 3rd of 2020 filed a motion to revoke your unadjudicated probation. And in this motion, there are 5 allegations. States, are you abandoning allegations 2, 3, 4, and 5?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Mordente Folsom, the state is abandoning allegations 2, 3, 4, and 5. That simply means that they will only be proceeding on allegation number 1. Allegation number 1 alleges that you, Skylar Mordente Folsom, failed to report to the Jefferson County Probation Office as ordered by the court on May 14 of 2020, May 26 of 2020, June 11 of 2020, and July 7 of 2020 as directed in violation of condition 4 of your probation order. Is that true or not true?
True, Your Honor.
Are you pleading true to allegation number 1 freely and voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are you pleading true because it is true?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, Mr. Mordente Folsom, I have before me another document that is titled misdemeanor plea admonishments. On page 2 of this document, there are a set of initials on a box, well, on a line next to a box that's checked MTRP. MTRP means motion to revoke probation. True to allegation number 1. Mr. Scholar Mordente Folsom, did you place your initials SM on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
On page 3 of the same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Did you sign this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
On the next document, which is titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, there is a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Mr. Mordente Folsom, did you sign this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
And above, at the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that are checked. The first box says checked, states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Mordente Folsom, prior to signing and initialing these documents that I've just mentioned, did your attorney, Mr. LeBlanc, go over these documents with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
State, I have before me state's exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer state 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
We have no objections, Your Honor.
Okay, no objection. State's exhibit number 1 will be admitted. And Mr. LeBlanc, you've advised and counseled Mr. Mordente Folsom. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None that I'm aware of, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Scholar Mordente Folsom, the state has, your attorney has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
Has he provided fully effective and competent legal representation?
Absolutely.
Okay, Mr. Mordente Folsom, I will accept your plea of true to allegation number 1. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to revoke your unadjudicated probation, and your unadjudicated probation is hereby revoked. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
The agreement is for 5 days time served with court costs to be taxed and retired.
You have his judgment? Did I give it back? What is this court box? Okay, Mr. Mordente Folsom, the state is offering that you serve 5 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any more time in Jefferson County Jail because you've already served 5 days in Jefferson County Jail. Therefore, you'll be given credit for time served. The court cost in this case is $177, but you would not have to pay the $177 because the time that you spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court costs will be taxed and retired. Mr. Folsom, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Mordente Folsom, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. This will conclude your case. Please follow the bailiff and you have a blessed.
Thank you. You as well.
All right. And Mr. LeBlanc, this will conclude your case. You're free to go and you have a blessed